Whispers of the Ancients Episode 2, the Olmecs, the Mother Culture approximately 1600 BCE. Opening, inviting the listener in. Long before the Maya charted the stars, before the mighty Aztec Empire rose from the lake, there was a people who left no name for themselves, but to those who came after, they were everything. Their faces were carved in stone. Their gods wore the masks of jaguars. Their legacy became the foundation for entire civilizations. Take a moment, clear your thoughts, breathe deeply. Now imagine the dense, steaming jungles of ancient Mexico, mist curling through ceiba trees, the distant rumble of thunder echoing above sacred wetlands. In this world, the Olmecs were born. They are often called the mother culture of Mesoamerica, because where they walked, others would follow. This is their story. Segment 1. The birth of a civilization approximately 1600 BCE, more than 3,000 years ago, in the humid lowlands of what is now Veracruz and Tabasco, Mexico. A great transformation began. Here, along rivers thick with alligators and rich with silt, the Olmecs constructed the first cities in Mesoamerica. The name Olmec comes from the Nahuatl word Olmeca, meaning people of the rubber country, a label given by the Aztecs. Over 1,000 years after the Olmecs had vanished, we don't know what the Olmecs called themselves, but we know they lived with extraordinary purpose. By 1200 BCE, they had already built the city of San Lorenzo, one of the earliest known urban centers in the Americas. Here, massive stone platforms were raised above floodplains, residences, temples, and ceremonial centers carved directly into the earth. Evidence of centralized planning, of labor coordination, of civilization. What makes this astonishing is that the Olmecs had no metal tools, no wheels, no beasts of burden, and yet they shaped 20-ton stones and moved them over dozens of miles. How? We still don't fully know. Segment 2, the colossal heads, guardians of the past, standing like silent sentinels in the forests and fields of ancient Mesoamerica, are the most iconic symbols of Olmec civilization, the colossal heads. Each one stands between 5 and 11 feet tall, carved from solid basalt boulders. They are portraits of rulers or warriors or perhaps even deified ancestors. Their faces are strong, broad, expressive, eyes slightly downcast, lips full and closed. Their helmets ornate, possibly part of ceremonial dress or military gear. There are 17 of these heads known to exist, some buried, some toppled, some still watching the jungle. Each stone was brought from the Tuxtla Mountains, over 50 miles away. No carts, no oxen, only human ingenuity. Why did the Olmecs create them? To honor kings? To ward off enemies? Or to guard the sacred landscape? We may never know their full meaning, but the craftsmanship, the scale, and the sheer human effort reveals something essential. The Olmecs revered power, ritual, and memory. Segment 3, religion, jaguars, and the divine. To the Olmecs, the universe was not made of facts, it was shaped by forces. They saw the sacred in animals, especially the jaguar, a creature that walks between worlds, land and water, day and night, life and death. Many Olmec artifacts show strange hybrid beings, part human, part jaguar. These were jaguars may have been gods, shamans, or ancestral spirits. Their religion was not written, but it was carved. Symbols appear across their temples and sculptures, swirling motifs that speak of transformation, fertility, water, and the cosmos. Caves, springs, and mountains were sacred places, portals to other worlds, and at the heart of it all was the belief that the natural and supernatural were one. Segment 4, society and daily life. While the great stone heads are what survive, the Olmecs were more than monument builders. They were farmers, traders, artisans, and engineers. They cultivated maize, beans, squash, and cacao, food that would become staples across Mesoamerica. Their villages and cities were often laid out with symbolic geometry, aligning buildings to the rising sun, cardinal directions, and sacred rivers. Trade routes stretched far and wide, from the Pacific coast to the Gulf of Mexico and beyond. Olmec jade has been found hundreds of miles away, in Maya tombs and Zapotec cities. showing how influential this culture became. And though they left no written histories, they did leave something just as powerful: symbols, glyphs, perhaps a proto-writing system found on stone slabs and pottery. Could these be the earliest writing in the Americas? Some scholars believe so. Segment 5, the cities, San Lorenzo, La Venta to Zapotes. The Olmecs didn't build just one city. They built a network of urban and ceremonial centers, each with its own unique character, but all sharing a cosmic blueprint. San Lorenzo was the first. Rising around 1200 BCE, it became a bustling center of power, religion, and innovation. Here, massive earthen mounds shaped the skyline. Underground drainage systems, crafted from carved stone, reveal a deep understanding of water management. San Lorenzo flourished for over 3 centuries, until it mysteriously declined around 900 BCE. But from its fall came another marvel. La Venta, perhaps the most iconic Olmec site, emerged as the new spiritual heart of the civilization. Located on an island in a swamp, it rose like a sacred oasis. At its center stood the Great Pyramid, the oldest known pyramid in Mesoamerica. Not made of stone, but layers of colored clay. Perfectly aligned with the stars, a temple mountain reaching toward the sky, buried beneath it, were elaborate tombs. In one, over 16 human figures made of jade, laid out in a ritual arrangement, surrounded by sacred offerings. Was it a burial of ancestors? A ceremonial reenactment of creation? Each clue opens more questions than answers. Then came to Zapotes, the last great Olmec city, flourishing around 400 BCE. By this time, the Olmec world was changing, but their legacy was far from over. Segment 6, art, symbolism, and spiritual geometry. Olmec art is one of the greatest testaments to their worldview. It is not just decorative, it is deeply symbolic and often spiritual. From tiny jade figurines to colossal sculptures, their artwork tells stories we still strive to interpret. They used serpentine, obsidian, hematite, and of course jade, which was more precious than gold. Faces with downturned mouths and almond eyes appear again and again. Figures in seated meditation, hands on their knees, often wearing headdresses, possibly priests or shamans in trance. You'll also find strange motifs: a cross carved into stone, a cleft on the forehead, flame-like eyebrows. These were not artistic choices alone, but religious emblems. It's believed that much of Olmec design followed sacred geometry. Forms aligned to represent dualities, earth and sky day, and night life and death the human, and the divine in this way. Every ceramic, every mask, and every temple alignment was a mirror of the cosmos. Their world wasn't built for function alone. It was a stage for the eternal dance between gods and mortals. Segment 7, sacrifice, blood, and the divine order. Like many ancient civilizations, the Olmecs believed that life flowed in cycles and that these cycles required balance. Rain fell, crops grew, children were born, but all of it came at a cost. Ritual bloodletting was practiced, a sacred offering to nourish the gods. It could be symbolic or physical. Sharp blades made of obsidian were found alongside altars. Jaguar claws, stingray spines. Evidence suggests that human sacrifice may have also been practiced, though likely reserved for rare, powerful ceremonies. These acts were not cruelty, they were expressions of cosmic responsibility. To the Olmecs, the gods had shaped the world through sacrifice, and to maintain harmony, mortals had to do the same. Segment 8, Olmec influence, the birth of Mesoamerican civilization. Though the Olmec cities faded into jungle and silence, their ideas lived on. Later cultures, the Zapotecs, the Maya, the Toltecs, and the Aztecs, all drew from the Olmec blueprint. The bal game, that sacred ritual sport played with rubber balls in stone courts, originated here. The use of zero, calendars, and possibly writing, seeds planted by the Olmecs. Their gods, the rain deity, the feathered serpent, the jaguar lord, all reappear in future pantheons. Different names, but the same cosmic roles. Even Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent worshipped by the Aztecs, may trace his divine lineage back to Olmec myth, and their colossal heads, echoes of divine kingship, a legacy of power. Through memory, a tradition that would echo in the great stone rulers of the Maya and the warrior kings of Tenochtitlan. Segment 9, the mysterious collapse approximately 400 BCE. So what happened to the Olmecs by 400 BCE? Their cities were abandoned, their colossal heads buried, their temples fallen silent. Some scholars believe climate change, possibly droughts or floods, disrupted their fragile agricultural systems. Others point to internal unrest, invasion, or shifting trade routes that weakened their economic centers. But there is no one answer, only silence and mystery. Yet even in their absence, the Olmecs left behind something profound, a spiritual DNA woven into the civilizations that followed. Segment 10, Legacy and Meaning Today. Today, the Olmecs still speak, not through language, but through stone, myth, and memory. They remind us that greatness can emerge from swamps, not just mountains, that a civilization's power lies not in how long it lasts, but in how deeply it roots itself in the hearts of those who come after, in schools and museums, in Mesoamerican art, in the stories of indigenous peoples of Mexico. The mother culture still whispers, and if we listen closely, we can still hear the jungle rustle with their dreams. Segment 11, Recent Discoveries and Scientific Breakthroughs. In the last few decades, archaeology and technology have begun to peel back the jungle's veil. LiDAR scanning, using lasers to penetrate forest canopies, has revealed previously unknown Olmec sites and possible roads connecting their ceremonial centers. Residue analysis on pottery shows the Olmecs may have been the first civilization in the Americas to process cacao, the drink of the gods. They were cultivating maize, squash, and beans, anchoring the Three Sisters diet that would nourish Mesoamerican peoples for millennia. Some artifacts even suggest trade links stretching hundreds of miles. Obsidian from distant mountains, shells from the Gulf Coast, and jade from deep within Guatemala. These weren't isolated villagers, they were networked, innovative, and in conversation with the land around them. We now believe that many Olmec ceremonial centers were aligned astronomically with solstices, equinoxes, and the movements of Venus. This points to a culture deeply in tune with the heavens. They didn't just live in the world. They listened to it, read its rhythms, and sought to reflect those patterns in the very layout of their cities and rituals. Segment 12, Spiritual Worldview, the Jaguar, the Serpent, the Shaman. To understand the Olmecs, we must try to see the world as they did. To them, reality had layers, the upper world of the gods and celestial beings, the middle world where humans walked and built and prayed, and the underworld, a place of mystery, death, transformation, and rebirth. These weren't just beliefs, they were truths woven into daily life. The jaguar, for instance, wasn't just a predator. It was the spirit of the shaman, the being who could move between worlds. Half human, half beast, it was a symbol of transformation, of power drawn from both the living and the dead. Many Olmec statues show beings in mid-transformation, humans with jaguar features, or vice versa. Perhaps they represent ritual possession, the moment when a shaman becomes the vessel of the divine. The serpent also appears repeatedly, slithering between realms, coiling through sacred space. It may have symbolized water, wisdom, or the path of the soul. Through their art and architecture, the Olmecs gave form to the invisible.